everyone, and welcome to American Family Insurance DreamBank, where we believe in the transformative power of dreams. I'm Madeline, and I'm thrilled to have you with us today. For those of you that are familiar with DreamBank, welcome back. And for those of you this is your first time joining us, welcome. Here at American Family Insurance, we believe communities are stronger and the future is brighter when people are actively pursuing their dreams. That's why we created DreamBank, an inspirational community destination and digital experience dedicated to dreamers everywhere. From our daily event series to immersive signature programs, there's something for every dreamer. Our always free offerings are designed to help you celebrate the dream journey, overcome obstacles, and stay motivated. Now, I'd like to introduce you to today's speaker. Sarah Mayland is a woman health coach, educator, and speaker who is on a mission to empower women to love themselves and their bodies so that together we can empower the next generation of women to do the same. She is the owner of Inside Out Transformations, where she furthers that mission every day through individual and group coaching, comprehensive online courses, workshops, and presentations with clients and companies all over the world. In her free time, Sarah loves to knit, sing, cook, play piano, and explore the arts with her son, Jack. All right, Sarah, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Madeline. Hello, everyone. It is great to be here with you today, kicking off Women's History Month a day early by talking about how we can conquer limiting beliefs. Every human being deserves to live their best life. They deserve to reach their potential and feel and function their best. And limiting beliefs are thoughts or values that we hold on to that keep us from doing that. And so today we are going to talk about what they are and how to start changing them. So let me share a little bit more about what we're going to cover today. I am going to share the 3 most common limiting beliefs that that my clients experience, that I have found in my experience and in my work. We're going to talk about why those beliefs are limiting, how we can change limiting beliefs. There is a process that I like to use that I'm excited to share with you today. And then we're going to talk about creating new limiting beliefs and how you can take concrete action to reinforce those beliefs. So the first limiting belief that I would like to discuss, which I think is so common among women, is the idea that my needs come last. I have to take care of everybody else first. And why is this belief limiting? Number one, it's disempowering, right? When we prioritize the needs of others over our own needs, that often comes from a place of needing others to show us that we have value, right? If everybody else needs us to do things for them, to fill their needs, that means that we matter. And it is a normal human emotion and desire to want to matter. We are biologically wired because we are social creatures. And thinking back to like caveman days, if we didn't matter to our group, we would be left behind to die. So I want you to know that the desire to matter is not problematic. But when we allow everyone else to determine our value by putting our needs last, we are giving away our power. This belief is also destructive because we're looking elsewhere to know that we matter. We stop treating ourselves like we matter. And what we do to treat ourselves like we matter is called self-care. And when self-care becomes optional, we tend to suffer on every front, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, right? If we're not eating because we feel like, oh, I can't eat, I have to do this project for my boss, or I can't eat because I have to make sure everybody else is fed first, or I have to skip my workout today because I have these other needs to meet. Our bodies will suffer. And same thing with anything else that we choose to put aside. And then finally, this belief is really inhibiting. Um, when we are meeting the needs of others over our own needs, we're not dedicating time to our own growth and evolution. And as a result, we stay stagnant, we stay stuck. And my guess is that maybe you're curious about a talk on limiting beliefs today because in some aspects of your life, you might be feeling stuck. So, the next belief that I want to talk about is the idea of I will be good enough when. Um, this is also disempowering because this belief makes your self-worth and or happiness dependent on external circumstances, right? As soon as I get this promotion, as soon as I get a nicer house, as soon as I get a nicer car, as soon as I get a better partner, as soon as I get nicer clothes, as soon as I get this next qualification that's going to make me feel like I'm finally good enough to apply for the job I want. We are placing our value on these external things, which places the ownership of your worth in the hands of other people. This is also demoralizing because the idea of I will be good enough when makes your self love conditional. And when you hold on to that belief, no matter how many things you attain, no matter how much you achieve, that belief is going to continue to drive the bus. It's what we call the moving goalpost. And so if you are continually holding this, I will be good enough when belief, even when you attain that when, it's going to feel good for a little bit. And then you're already going to be on to the next thing that you need in order to be good enough. It's not going to fill that hole. And what that does is it makes us carry around unnecessary shame. And I would love for you to put into the chat maybe what is an area of your life where you struggle with the idea of a moving goalpost. I know for me, and again, feel free to put it in the chat. I would love to hear from you. What area of your life do you tend to be like, oh, as soon as I have this next thing, or as soon as I achieve this next thing, then I will be good enough? I know for me, yes. Oh, hope. Absolutely. I can't tell you how many clients I've worked with who have that one: work, personal life, goals. Yeah, for me, um, it has been for a long time professional. Yeah, weight loss is such a big one. And I know my experience with this has been as soon as I get this next certification, yes, task of cleaning is never done. I know. Funny thing, Laura, is I always joke that if motherhood were a church, its name would be Our Lady of Perpetual Laundry. Um, Finding your purpose, academic, professional. Yeah. So it's all of these things that we want to attain, these things that we want to achieve become a security blanket, right? And so, a question that I would love for you to consider just for yourself is why can't we just let ourselves be happy with what we have? And I think that there's a couple of answers to this. Number one is people are afraid that if they are happy where they are, that means that they're going to get complacent. And we're not going to get complacent because it's not human nature to get complacent. We are designed to continually grow and evolve. But the other reason that I see really often is that we are scared to be happy with what we have because in the past, when we have felt some sort of joy, that joy has been taken away. And so if we prevent that joy, if we prevent that happiness for ourselves, then we can't get hurt if it gets taken away in the future. The next belief that I want to cover is they have all the answers. They meaning not you. And this is really disempowering as well because this belief assumes that other people know and understand you better than you know and understand yourself. Now, in my work with my clients, I've seen this show up in two major ways. Number one is around their body, nutrition, weight loss, things like that. Is everybody out there has an opinion about what is right. And there's so many blogs and things like that that people can hop on and get this really conflicting information that they're trying everything. And this leads to kind of the second thing on here, which is that it can be potentially harmful, right? I can't tell you how many clients I've worked with who have done any number of crash diets, and it can really do harm to your body, but also this lack of self trust that happens when we rely on everyone else for the answers can also negatively impact our relationships, our businesses, and trigger a massive shame cycle. The other area I've seen this is parenting. Um, and one client of mine in particular comes to mind where she would be reading like every mommy blog out there. And um, and then would be doubting every decision that she made when it came to her parenting and her kids. I know for me, this has shown up when I first started my business. I was reading all of the business books, following all the coaches on Instagram, and everyone's giving conflicting information. And I felt like everything I was doing was inauthentic. Um, and so then lastly, this belief that everyone else knows more, everyone else has all the answers, is that when we rely on everybody else's answers, we become blind to our own intuition. We lose our internal compass and we lose a sense of what is truly right for us. We can also be blind to the negative effects of other people's approaches. So we could be doing this diet, right? And feeling like absolute garbage, but thinking, well, this person is more qualified than I am, or they know better than I do. So maybe the problem is me. Maybe I'm just not doing it right. Um, or maybe there's something wrong with my body. When in reality, it's this approach is not serving you. And so now I would love for you to put into the chat, what is one area of your life where you have the hardest time trusting yourself? And I will wait a moment for those to come in. I know for me, for a long time, it was my business. Yeah, making decisions is it can be really hard and really anxiety inducing. Food, yes. Again, there's so much conflicting advice out there. Thank you for sharing. Yes, next steps on career, big decisions, financials. Yeah, so many things. Mm, yeah, I feel you. I feel you. Letting go of people that are no longer moving on the same path. It's interesting. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. Decision making, second guessing yourself. Yeah. And I will tell you that our system thrives on this, right? Like, this is how, like, weight loss companies, for instance, or business coaches or things like that make money is to say, hey, you don't know enough. I know all the things. Let me give you the solutions. And we'll talk a little bit more in a couple of minutes about what to do with that. But first, let's talk about how we can start to rewrite these limiting beliefs. So beliefs are really hard to change. They can be really hard to change because they are often established when we're little, when we're children. As an example, um, my partner and I were talking about how in the past he has really neglected his self-care. And we realized that as a kid, his mom was like the quote unquote safe parent. And she always put her self care last. And so that showed him that that's what he needed to do in order to be the safe parent. And so I share that to say, like, these beliefs can be so like wired into us that they can be really hard to change. So here are some simple steps that you can take. Number one is start to get curious. So just like my partner and I did some digging and we found out kind of where that particular belief came from, you can do that as well. Um, is if you find yourself limited, and it could be one of these three beliefs that we talked about, but it could also be a whole variety of others. There are tons and tons of limiting beliefs out there and limiting beliefs that we carry. Is start by getting curious. Um, Curiosity is the opposite of judgment, right? So we're not going to be hard on ourselves for having a limiting belief, but we are going to get curious. Where does that belief come from? Um, and then find out the benefit. And this is sometimes hard to think about because we are keenly aware of how the belief is not benefiting us, right? But every behavior, emotion, or belief or thought that we have is serving us in some way. It's meeting a need, or we wouldn't be doing it. And so think about how your limiting beliefs are serving you. The idea that, oh, everyone else's needs come first is serving you by giving you a way to make sure that you matter, right? So then once you figure out what that need is, now we have to find a way to meet the need differently. How else can we know that we matter if we're not going to rely on everybody else to tell us? Um, and so you always want to try to see if you can meet that need within yourself. And sometimes we need the support of others as well, but that doesn't replace us meeting our own needs. And then finally, rewrite the belief. And so it could look like something as simple as my needs are important too. Okay, so you're going to want to write a new belief that aligns with the reality that you want to create for yourself. And so we're going to jump into some examples of new beliefs that we can write. Number one, my needs matter too, the one I just shared. And this is empowering because when you recognize the importance of your own needs, you recognize your innate value. So you are no longer dependent on meeting someone else's needs to know your worth, and you can fully step into your power. It's also constructive, right? Because if you believe that you matter, that your needs matter, you're going to be treating yourself like you matter, which means you're going to be taking care of yourself. Okay. And then it's also growth oriented. And so when we recognize and honor our needs, we are making time and space to tend to our personal growth and development. And that's really, really important because that's what we're meant to do as humans. We are meant to grow and evolve in our own particular ways. Um, Question for you, once again, to put into the chat is if you chose to start prioritizing your needs today, which of your needs would be on the top of the list? Like where do you feel like maybe you have been neglecting those needs, and what would be on the top of the list? Health. Yeah. Oh, self-care. I love that. Wellness. Yeah. Boundaries. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I'm seeing here a really powerful need. Yeah, for more time to travel with you for sure. Um, I'm seeing a need for self-care here, right? Own it, do it. Um, so instead of I will be good enough when, let's try the belief I am good enough now. And this belief empowers you to celebrate your own worth and recognize that it is innate. You are not worthy because of the things that you have done. You are worthy because you exist and because of who you are. It's not dependent on someone else saying that you're good enough. It's not dependent on the number of qualifications you have. You are worthy. You are good enough now. This is also uplifting. Honoring your innate self worth leads to unconditional self love and self acceptance. The moving goalpost disappears, and we are no longer relying on meeting ever changing criteria to know our value. It is like it takes that demoralizing heaviness and shame and just lets it go. And then the other thing is it's achievable, right? When we release the perfectionism that comes with this moving goalpost, we allow ourselves to try new things that we might not be good at. Or we stop holding ourselves back from putting something into the world. And this ultimately allows us to do and achieve more than we could have imagined. I can't tell you how many things. Actually, I can tell you one thing. I created a course on stress management, and I was so worried about this course being perfect that it took me 2 years to create. And of course, now that it's out there, I see all of these things about it that I want to change, right? But thinking about if I had let go of that perfectionism earlier, how much sooner could that course have been out there serving people? Some food for thought. And I would love to know from you, again, in the chats, what is one thing that you think that you're quote unquote bad at, or that you really need a lot of work on that you would like to try? Mm, my pleasure, Shelley. Any ideas, things that you would like to try that you feel like maybe you aren't good enough to put out there? Anyone like to sing? Performing in a gig, cooking. Yeah. Oh, Laura, I want to hear about this book. Yeah, so many things. So many things. And the last belief I want to explore, this new belief that we can write, is I know what is right for me. This belief empowers you by fostering self trust. When you can connect with and trust your intuition, you find ease and flow and can make empowered decisions with confidence. This belief is also supportive. Trusting your inner wisdom means that you can make choices that serve you mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, and you can release what is not in alignment for you, which feels so good. Carrying stuff around that's not aligned for you is such a heavy burden and carries so much shame. And so when you trust yourself that you know what is right for you can comfortably release what is not in alignment. And the last thing is it allows you to be open to receive. So when you say, I know what is right for me, obviously that does not mean that we shut out the entire outside world. It does not mean that we are not open to learning from others. Of course, we're open to learning from others, but it doesn't have to be an all or nothing thing. You can learn what you can from someone and leave the rest. Leave that which does not work for you or that which does not resonate for you, and that is okay. And so how can we reprogram these belief systems? So we have this step-by-step process that we can go through to rewrite the beliefs. But what happens when you are going about your day and you're like, "Oh, I got this new belief, it's so good." And then something happens and you find yourself slipping back into the old habits of, I'm going to skip this meal so I can get this work done, um, that sort of thing. And a lot of people think that you have to fully embody the new belief, that you have to completely believe it and feel it 100% of the time before you can start to do it. And this is true with even little things like, I have to want to go to the gym before I go to the gym. No, you don't have to do it. It's actually backwards. It is action first, and then the feeling will follow. And so when you are programming reprogramming belief systems, programming new beliefs in, what you can do, number one, start with affirmations. And I know a lot of people have trouble with affirmations because they feel weird, right? You're telling yourself something that in this moment you feel is not true, and it feels kind of yucky. Number one, something you can do is start with an affirmation that is just one step away from where you are now. So, um, if you're going from I have to always put myself last, you're not going to go, I am the most important person in my world. That's just going to feel completely off base to you. But you can try, my needs matter too, right? That's a step in the right direction that is maybe a little easier to swallow. And the important thing with an affirmation is not just to say it over and over and over again, but imagine how would it feel for you if um if that were true, and you want to embody that feeling as you say the affirmation, and that's kind of where the magic happens. Then make one small change in the direction that you're trying to go. So rather than trying to overhaul your life to reflect your new belief, try one small change. I think James Clear said this in Atomic Habits, which is consistency is better than intensity. And so don't try to do all the things. Start by, if you are someone who continually skips lunch, for instance, bring your lunch and allow yourself 15 minutes. Do what feels doable, you know? Um, it's going to be more sustainable long term, and it will build up, those changes will build up over time. The other thing is set boundaries. When you are establishing new beliefs, others are going to try to get in the way because you are changing from the person that they knew into someone else, and that makes them uncomfortable. You are not responsible for their discomfort. So, what you want to do is you want to set some boundaries to protect your time and energy and make sure that you are surrounding yourself with supportive people who are going to be cheering you on as you rewrite these beliefs. And then lastly, reflect on your progress. So, because we make these changes slowly, it's really easy to feel like you're not moving forward at all. It's really easy to feel like you are still stuck. But if every day you make a little note of one way that you acted on that new belief, and that'll take literally 30 seconds, then you have literal written evidence right in front of you um, to show you that you are in fact making progress. So, oh, thank you, Michelle. Um, And thank you, everyone, for being here today. I would love to just leave a space for any questions, but I would also love to learn about you. And so if you feel this presentation served you today, my contact info is on the slide. Please feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to chat.
Thank you so much. I know I had a whole bunch of notes and some of my responses I wasn't in the chat, but I too am working on a book, and that has a lot of limiting beliefs along with it, and it's just a fun passion project and a way for me just to have fun. But yet it is crazy the voice inside my head when I'm literally just playing. Um, so that I saw a comment and I really identified with that. So I'm excited to make little changes, and the consistency is key. I highlighted that like so many times, and what feels doable. So thank you everyone for coming in. I was just kind of keeping an eye, no real questions, but one thing too, it will be up on our YouTube later. So if you didn't get to catch it all, or if you are like me and you're going to need to go back and just listen to it again, you'll have that opportunity. And then for those of you that are in the Madison area, we are continuing celebrating Women's History Month. All through the month, but we have an event coming up in person on March 11th, and I will put the link in the chat. But it is just a women's mixer, and celebrating mentorship as well, and getting some fun little tips and tricks on how to be a good mentor, how to be a good mentee, and how to leverage your mentorship, and maybe even answer some questions that you have about it, so success doesn't end with you. And then an awesome opportunity for women just to get in the same room and kind of share their power. And you'll also be able to get free headshots by Twig and Olive, and then also we'll have a wonderful grazing table from Tricky Food. So it'll be just a wonderful celebration of past success and cheersing to future success as well. So thank you, everyone.
Madeline, real quick
Yes,
question, just that we got in the comments or in the chat is someone
yes.
asked if we are able to share the PowerPoint. And I was wondering if I send it to you as a PDF, are you able to distribute it to everyone? Or the other thing that you could do, Laura, specifically, if you want it, is you can send me an email. My email is on the slide, and I am happy to send you over a copy of the PowerPoint.
Perfect. Let's do that. If you want the PowerPoint, please email Sarah. I know it gets tricky through Eventbrite adding PDFs. So sometimes we're able to do it, but if they've had an update. So I can't 100% commit to that yes right now, but if you would like the PowerPoint slides, please email Sarah and she will send them over to you. And if for some reason at one point you lose Sarah's email, you can just email the DreamBank team and we'll get you connected. But thank you everyone for attending, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank
And
you.
bye everyone.